Just needed to get that out.
It's always good to let those out. Hey, this is Annabelle and Sarah. Welcome back to Navigating the Shift. And the latest news from us is that we had applied to go into a big competition that was put on by a production company funded by Google to see if we could get Navigating the Shift produced as a podcast through their mentoring. It was a big scholarship. It was about $20,000 US or something, and it looked really cool, but we missed out, and so both of us went for a while. But then over the last couple of days, we've each had different messages that have come through that have lifted us back up again. So, do you want to start with that?
Sarah? Sure. Well, mine's very bizarre because somehow I have two different email accounts. I have my business account and I have my personal account. And I don't do my personal account my business account on my phone or tablet. I just like to keep that separate on my computer. So I will sometimes send myself, if we're doing research or something, I'll look at it on my tablet and then I'll email it to my computer for business. Well, evidently somebody else thought that was a good idea because I went to check my email and there's an email from me from June 3rd, about 8 a.m., that I didn't write, or I have no memory of writing, and I know it's 8 a.m. I wasn't like blackout drunk or something, right? So it's kind
not
of
on that particular day.
Right. I usually wait until at least 9 to start drinking. And I think it was a response to my feelings about being down about the competition. We both put a lot of intent and time into the application and everything, and it was disappointing. It really felt good, It's like, oh, this is going to make it. We won't have to work so hard. It'll have all this mentoring and some money coming in and all that good stuff.
And we'll finally get to meet. That would have been so cool.
Yes, in person. Actually, I want to touch you. So what the email says is, stop it, abuse, thoughts. So
self-abuse, isn't it?
Stop being bad. No, it's never going to work. Don't let yourself get spiraling down into that one. It says, soar, fly, just be you. So, little question mark. Sarah, come fly, don't crawl. This is also a good message for everybody to hear. That's next part.
What I think too, yeah.
It's done. The planet is freed. Things will play out at the necessary speed, but relax, enjoy, celebrate, because all the hard work has paid off. Your years of effort and struggle were successful. So listen to this for yourself. We celebrate. We are excited. We know the success has already happened. And I must have at some point been going, what's up with Trump? Who knows? But at any rate, the answer is Trump is just another player. No more special than me/you. Different specialty, different skills. Personality, ickiness suits the purpose.
Absolutely.
So to me, that means, I've thought I probably would not enjoy God being married to him or hanging out with him because his personality is so narcissistic and all of that groovy stuff. But I don't care. I don't have to, right? So it says, stop hating yourself. Your personality ickiness serves a purpose too.
We all have to be honest with ourselves about that one. So the timelines. Timelines is the interesting bit.
Yeah. And you got a message about timelines too, right?
I did. Yeah. So I've been getting a couple of different sources of information that were sort of similar that back each other up. One of them was Gojja's work from the YouTube channel Cosmic Agency. I'll put the link below. And in that one, it's a bit tricky because I'm kind of watching the latest ones as well as catching up because I wanted to start from the beginning because there's lots of articles that have been written out in great detail as to the scientific way of how spaceships work and how time works or how reality works, how the hologram works of this planet. And some of these things they're quite a challenge for the brain. But the timeline thing was interesting in talking about how nothing is actually moving. It's more like how they used to make old-fashioned cartoons, where, you draw a hand like this, and then you draw a hand like this, and this, and this, on a different piece of paper. And then when you go, and roll all the pieces of paper together, it looks like it's moving. And in fact, that's how this hologram works as well. It's a whole series of frames. Now, that means that you can insert a frame that actually sends the hand back the other direction. And then the most obvious thing to do would be for the hologram to go, oh, right, okay, a different set of papers. So we're heading off on a different pathway, a different timeline to go in a different direction from what you were originally going. And this is, she was using that in terms of a very detailed article about spaceships. But then someone else sent me an article from Tom Kenyon, who has been around for many, many years. He's a intuitive singer. He's been channeling the Hathors, which are they from Egypt, Sarah?
Yes.
Right. And so this particular article was around kind of about manifestation and how you can change your frequency to go head off on a different timeline. So you see how it kind of matched together very beautifully. In this now, there's 5 steps. I'll give you a link to the whole article, but essentially you identify the timeline you wish to move into, right? So if things aren't going the way you like, rather than sitting there moaning and groaning like we just have about the competition, going, this is just too hard, decide what you want, right? We know that from law of attraction. Find the timeline you wish to move
Imagine
to.
It, right?
Imagine it. We'll come back to imagination for sure.
Yeah.
Shift your vibrational state to match the new timeline. Lock in that vibrational state so it does not waver. Take actions that are an expression of the new timeline. So you live it. You start to live it. And then you persevere. Now, when this sort of stuff started coming out around, actually, I can't really say it was 20, 30 years ago because I found a law of attraction book written in the 1920s. But it's really started being talked about a lot more in more recent times. And the New Age thought was, just believe the timeline, that you want to go on and don't see anything else. Put your blinkers on. And that's silly because you still have to live where you are as you slowly bend into the new timeline. We're not good enough yet at mastering this manifestation to the point where you can jump to the other timeline and suddenly everything is different, because that can be a bit of a shocker to the body and the mind, I'm very sure. So to bend ourselves in that direction is where we're heading with those timelines.
Yay.
Do you want to talk about imagination a bit more, Sarah?
Oh, well, I think you want to back up and talk about what you said. You can't ignore where you're at.
That's right.
And talk about the power of truth. And that's why disclosure is so important as far as our ascending or transformation process. People need to know the truth of our reality, of what we'd actually been living in, because we've been living in an illusion of what's really going on. You all know what I'm talking about. So there's that level of truth, but there's also being honest with yourself. People talk about telling their truth, and for the most part, whenever I hear somebody say, I'm going to speak my truth, it means I want to dump on you. My truth is that you are just too picky about things. That's just my truth. It's something like that. That's not the truth I'm talking about. I'm talking about being courageous enough to talk about the stuff that's going on in the world. That I believe in UFOs too. We are so frequently we think we're going to be judged, we're going to be ridiculed, we're going to be, where's your foil hat, that kind of thing. And I've had the experience of, with a parent of one of my kids years ago, for instance, that I took a chance and sort of started speaking spiritually. One of the teachers had died. So I communicated with the teacher just to see how she was. And I took a chance and told this other parent who was close with that teacher as well what I'd done. And she was completely open to it. I had no idea she had any kind of spiritual beliefs at all. And it began a friendship, or they ended up moving away. But, to take the chance to do that, that was me speaking some truth that took courage. So that's the truth I'm talking about.
But also when you're talking about individual truth as well, we have to sometimes really, and I think that's even harder than looking at the world sometimes, is to go, I've been not treating myself well for years. That was one of my big insights at one point. No wonder nobody else treats me well. And that's a hard lesson to learn. But once you understand the truth, then you can go, do I want to continue down this timeline? No, let's move to a different timeline. So we're going to shift our vibration to the new timeline. Let's see if we can raise it.
And this old timeline is a timeline of lies and falsehoods. So the more we are able to align ourselves to truth, the more we are aligning ourselves to the frequency of that preferred timeline. So there's a double benefit from doing that. And then the next part is, once you are in the truth of your reality, you could look at it also from the point of view of the woman whose name I can never remember, who wrote Loving What Is, link below, where she says, this is our reality. Don't fight the reality. Know what it is, love it, or have allowance for it, and only from there can you change it. If you're fighting it, this reality is pretty big. You've got a big fight ahead of you. The next part is your imagination. That's so important because, one, you can't create something without thinking of it, without imagining it first. Plus, the imagination is a higher dimensional tool. Animals don't have imagination, right? That's a gift from our greater selves, our higher self, your divine self, whatever you want to call it, from our higher dimensional self. So use it. Don't think of it as just daydreaming. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I think this has been grossly, not underestimated. I think it's actually been deliberately suppressed. In little kids, when they go to school, that they will, they're taught to lose much of their imagination. They're focused on maths and science and facts that have already been proven, and history that has been proven, which of course we're finding more and more is not the case at all. And you learn dates and you learn facts and formulas and things like that. And these are considered more valuable in school than art and music and creative writing and singing and things like that. They reward people who conform and who do as they're told. And in universities too, I think. Before, there seemed to be more scope to be able to expand and ask crazy questions and experiment on crazy experiments in order to make a breakthrough and find something different from what there was before. And now it seems to be so much more knocked down. We're taught to just, do as you're told. So this imagination thing is a great gift, like you said. It is. I don't know if it's unique to humans, but it is certainly a gift. And this is the only way you can really imagine what a different timeline might look like. So if you're traveling down this road, you think that the world looks like hell, and more chaos, and it's all a disaster. Okay, we accept that that's where we're at, but what else would you like? Would you like something different? Well, you have to use your imagination to go there, to picture something different. And those that have the most wild and wonderful creative visions and imagination, don't knock them. That's you. Don't knock them, because that is giving to the collective, all of us. It gives to all of us. Sometimes you'll have someone who brings up a great idea. I remember Mercredan talking about this, drawing in an idea from the great unknown into the collective consciousness. Now, if that person goes, wow, that's so cool, and then they just get on with their day, they will miss out. They won't actually get to put that idea into action. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they really do care, but they just don't know how to make projects happen. And then someone else within the collective will pick it up. And amazingly enough, within months, the person who came up with the original idea sees their idea being put into action and somebody else profiting from it. So you do bring it into the collective.
There's so many stories of that happening.
Yeah,
of people inventing the same thing at the same time, or one person going, I got that too.
Yeah, four or five people around the world working on the same idea. And unfortunately, with the way that the world is set up at the moment, the one who brought in the original idea is not rewarded. The person who puts it into action is the one that's seen as the great inventor. So I think that will change eventually as we start, as our psychic powers improve, as our technology improves. We'll be able to see a lot more of where these ideas come from, and be able to, then the truly creative people are the ones that will be seen as absolute gods. The ones who actually put it into action are just the plebs who, they have a part to play, We do want that idea put into action, but the one who originally brought it in is the true creative source that brings information to the great known here in the collective
So we're
consciousness.
going to do some process together, get our group energy together to build this new reality. But last thing I wanted to say is, as far as speaking your truth, please respect everybody else's truths too. A little phrase, I think, all truths are true. So if that doesn't mean you're arguing with them and trying to get them to convince them that your truth is true. Being wrong, you don't have to be right all the time. All that stuff is part of it. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have personality ickiness and all of that other stuff. So is there anything else you want to add before we go into the creation, imagination, new timeline process?
No, the last thing I was thinking of we'll finish up with. So let's do this now. Do the imagination.
Okay. So everybody, remember what I received, a direct message from somewhere. It's done. We're on the right timeline. Feel that. They're celebrating on the other side and probably lots of other places. All we need to do is let the timeline continue to play out. It's done. That burden you've carried, you all came in here going, this is really important life. I've got to do something important to save this planet, right? So let that go. Release all those service agreements and feel the pleasure of celebrating. It's done. We did it, guys.
How would you be? Ooh. What kind of vibration would you live in if you knew that the ending is a happy ending? It's guaranteed. We are on that timeline. We've moved the hand back in the other direction, and we are heading off on a happy ending timeline. How would you live? How would you choose to live?
So let's all take a couple of breaths, and I'll think of some words. Let's think of some words that might describe this. Maybe close your eyes, feel that feeling. Whew, relief, success, satisfaction. And let's imagine that timeline. Imagine the guaranteed future we are creating now. The truth that's in it. Freedom. So much imagination, so many new things coming in. Think of all the suppressed technologies. The health will all be so much healthier with all the old. Not everybody wants to be thinner.
No, it's true.
Yeah. But healthier. Imagine when you wake up, it's light. I've traveled to the new earth, which is what we're bringing in here. And it feels like there's less gravity because it's the judgment that's creating this consciousness gravity, the judgment and the low frequencies and all the negative energy of the old reality that we're leaving. So imagine that you're lighter weight, regardless of whether you actually look thinner. And so you can get up and bounce through, and you talk to plants and you talk to animals and they communicate directly with you. Lovely.
Lovely.
And there's music and the smell of the flowers. Yeah, this is what we're creating right now. So take this energy. Let's all imagine a wave. We've built it up within our bodies. So take a big breath, and as you exhale, send that wave out in all directions, in all dimensions. Let's do a couple more of those. Okay, let's do the breath again. Bigger and bigger and bigger. It's getting so big. It's expanding bigger than the planet now. And one more. It goes past the moon. As big as the whole solar system. And beyond. And feel the support and the love of our extraterrestrial and angelic and ascended masters, family and loved ones. This is what we have created. We are guaranteed of this reality. Okay. So to come back into your body a little bit.
Open your eyes.
Wiggle your toes. So imagine you are that person. And what are you going to do right after listening to this? do something. Remember whatever step 3 or 4 you were talking about. Take some action.
That's
Don't be the inventor that doesn't make the invention, right?
Yeah, take the action that is an
action.
expression of the new timeline.
It doesn't have to be a big deal. If you just walk outside and dance on the grass. That's something maybe you wouldn't have done in the old energy because you don't feel so good or whatever. But yeah, do something.
Yeah.
And do it every day. And you'll find that you're living in that new timeline frequency regardless of what other people around you are experiencing.
That's it. Lovely. I think the only other thing I wanted to add was this idea of being on a new timeline. It was in your email, Sarah, but it was also came through at least a couple of places. The first one I can't think of. It might have been along the lines of reading Dolores Cannon's books about Nostradamus and how he was explaining through her books what all those quatrains meant, and that the timeline that he was seeing as the most probable, which is also from the Bible, was this disaster, the doom, the end of probably 90% of us, due to an Antichrist being on the planet, who appears to have been removed from the planet. That was meant to happen in the 1990s, and we never saw him. He was meant to be a high-profile, very young, good-looking guy, either from Jerusalem or the Middle East or somewhere around there. We never saw him. So I think he was removed by someone who recognized who it probably was that they were talking about. And so we're not living on that timeline now. That was meant to be all about nuclear war. Now, even if you look at what has been stirred by the media, they are trying to stir up nuclear war as well, sending off missiles with the wrong country plastered, painted on the side of the missile and things like that.
It's not going to happen.
No, or the media saying, America's going to have war with Russia. Well, no, he went over and shook hands. And now it's China. No, he went and shook hands with them as well. Oh, what about Saudi Arabia? No, he was having fun with them. That was fine. And North Korea? No, he went and shook hands with them as well. Oh. So they're kind of running out of ideas here. Okay, it's got to be Iran now. Like they're desperately running out of cards to play.
And if that doesn't work, it's a meteor. There's meteors coming.
Yeah,
there's meteors
coming.
Now
it's
they're
UFOs.
Really close.
As we said last week.
There's UFOs. There are aliens, yeah.
That's it. The UFOs are going to attack us when, in fact, it might actually be their own, military craft. So they're trying very hard to create this, and they're failing now. They
can't do it. I mean, when you look at it from the frequency that we just, built within ourselves, they look so silly and weak. There's like, you keep trying, but it's not happening.
Yeah. Like we said last week, look over here. It's like, no, we're not falling for that. And another one I had when I looked at how the timelines we had just scraped through, which of course makes the best show in the world, doesn't it? Or the best show in the universe, if everyone is looking in. That I was talking to Jeffrey Rainbow, who I'd done some interviews with before, and he also said he could see very clearly we had just scraped by this timeline that was full of nuclear war, where it just decimated most of the planet. And he said, wow. we just missed it. Oh my God, it was amazing, and we've made it through. So there's just like one confirmation after the other. Of course, you have to use your own discernment. You have to tune into yourself and go, does this resonate with me? Without allowing any of your own personal baggage to get in the way. Sit there with an open mind. This is what we do all the time. Because sometimes a story that you hear doesn't make sense the next day. So you must always tune in and see. But to me, the fact that all these multiple different ways were being confirmed absolutely confirms what you had. Right? Yeah, exactly. When they all come together, you kind of know they're meant to be linked. And when they confirm what you just got in your email on the 3rd of June, I think, that's yet another confirmation. We've made it. We've done it.
And the 3rd of June was a new moon. Right?
Perfect.
I just thought of that. It was new moon in Gemini, gorgeous. I saw it last night with just a tiny sliver with a sunset sky. It was just lovely. But you have both the sun and the moon in Gemini, and you've got Mercury there as well. So this is communications, and it was also trine, which means like an easy, comfortable, flowing connection to some players that have been active for quite some time, which is Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, which is what's tearing apart the old reality. Oh. So it's a wonderful time to use that energy, and maybe our communication got upped really well there during that moon. So last thing, just like congratulations, everybody.
We've done it. We've done it. Sarah, you're going to have to write some more questions to yourself, I think, and see if you get any answers back.
Keep tuned.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye.